She fainted on a crowded subway and woke up in the arms of a Mafia boss. Amanda Turner was a starving nurse with bruises hidden under her sleeves, and a home she was terrified to return to. After a brutal double shift, her body finally gave out on a New York train. But before she hit the floor, Alessandro Rinaldi caught her. One look at the finger-shaped bruises on her arm told him everything. She said she was fine. He knew she was lying. And that night, the most dangerous man in the city decided she was never going back to the man who hurt her. Amanda's struggle begins with something small, a rusted hospital locker that refuses to open. She tries once, then again, then a third time before the numbers finally line up. Her hands are trembling from exhaustion, not cold. After another double shift, her body feels hollowed out. But rent is due in 5 days, and her bank account has already answered every question. In the locker room glass, she barely recognizes the woman staring back, pale face, sunken eyes, a loose shirt hanging from a body that has gone too thin. Hot meals have become cafeteria leftovers. Home has become a place she delays returning to. And that night, the city outside feels less cruel than the apartment waiting for her. Her queen's apartment has become a cage, and Ryan is the one holding the key. As Amanda leaves the hospital, Marie at reception notices how pale she looks and asks if she is all right. Amanda smiles with the kind of lie people learn when the truth is too dangerous to say. Just tired, she says. Outside, the November wind cuts through her thin jacket. Her heavy coat is still at home, trapped beneath Ryan's sleeping body after he passed out drunk across the couch, and looked at his clenched fist and decided the cold was safer. By the time she starts walking toward the train, her legs already feel unsteady. Cold rain soaks through Amanda's jacket before she reaches the subway stairs. Underground, the air is damp, metallic, and crowded. She keeps her head low, trying to disappear into the line of commuters, who all look too tired to notice anyone else. But as the train arrives, the noise hits her too hard. The screech of brakes, the push of bodies, the sudden heat inside the car, it all presses against her at once. She grabs the metal pole and tries to count her breaths the way she teaches anxious patients. 4 in, 4 out. Her hands keep slipping. Her stomach twists with hunger. She tells herself she can make it one more stop, then another. The counting falls apart. Amanda recognizes the warning signs with a nurse clarity, the shrinking tunnel of vision, the cold sweat along her spine, the strange buzzing in her ears. Knowing what is happening does not stop it. When the train jerks around a curve, her knees buckle. She expects to hit the dirty floor. Instead, strong arms catch her before she falls. She is pulled against a stranger in an expensive wool coat that smells faintly of cedar and rain. His voice is low, controlled, and slightly accented. "I've got you," he says close to her ear. For one terrifying second, Amanda wants to fight him. Then her body gives up before her pride can answer. She looks up and sees a man with sharp features, dark eyes, and a calmness that feels almost dangerous. He is tall, broad-shouldered, dressed like someone who gives orders and expects them followed. He should frighten her, but his hands are careful as he checks her pulse. Then her sleeve slips, exposing yellow and purple bruises shaped like fingers around her arm. The man goes still, not surprised, not curious. He knows exactly what he is seeing. "Who did this?" he asks, and the softness in his voice turns into steel. Amanda yanks her sleeve down and mutters that she is clumsy. The lie comes out automatically, before she can stop it. Ryan's secrets have become her reflex. The stranger does not believe her. He looks at her face, then at the shaking hand gripping the pole. "When did you last eat?" he asks. Amanda tries to laugh it off, but the sound dies in her throat. "I am fine." His eyes narrow. "Try again." There is no anger in his voice, only a refusal to let her disappear behind the lie. Something inside Amanda cracks. "Yesterday," she whispers. "Maybe." He curses softly in Italian, then speaks into his phone. "Marco, bring the car to the next station." Amanda stiffens. "I don't even know you." He lowers his gaze to hers. "Alessandro Raldi. You need food, a doctor, and somewhere Ryan cannot reach you." Amanda's body goes cold at the sound of Ryan's name. "I didn't tell you no," Alessandro says quietly. "Men like him leave the same kind of marks." She insists she has to go home, because fear is still louder than reason. Alessandro asks one question that strips the last defense from her voice. "Do you want to go home?" The train doors open. Amanda cannot answer. He lifts her before her legs can fail again, careful but firm. "This is kidnapping," she murmurs weakly. "No," he says, carrying her through the crowd as Marco appears beside them. "This is getting you out," before he finishes what he started. Amanda closes her eyes and lets herself be carried. Inside the black car, the city noise disappears behind thick glass. Amanda tries to sit upright, tries to pull herself together, but her body is shivering too hard. Alessandro stops her with one word: "Breathe." He drapes his dry jacket over her shoulders and hands her a bottle of water. Slowly, he warns when she reaches for it too quickly. The warmth of the jacket almost hurts. She should be terrified of this stranger, this car, this unknown destination. Instead, relief spreads through her like something forbidden. She watches rain drag silver lines across the window and realizes the terrible truth. The first safe place she has been in for months belongs to a man she met 10 minutes ago. Amanda takes small sips because Alessandro keeps his hand lightly on the bottle until she slows down. "Where are we going?" she asks, her voice rough. "My home," he says. "A doctor is waiting." She shakes her head. "No hospitals. I work in one. People will ask questions. Then they can ask me." The answer is so simple that it leaves her speechless. The car pulls up to a Grand Park Avenue building, all glass, marble, and quiet wealth. In the polished lobby doors, Amanda catches sight of herself. Wet hair, bruised arm, hollow face, borrowed jacket swallowing her shoulders. She looks like someone dragged from a storm. Alessandro holds out his hand. Taking it feels like stepping into a life she has no right to enter. Her legs give out before she reaches the elevator. The world tilts, turns soft, and disappears. Once again, Alessandro catches her. When Amanda wakes, she feels warmth first. Real warmth. Soft sheets, thick blankets, golden light behind her eyelids. For a moment, she thinks she has dreamed the subway, the stranger, the black car. Then she opens her eyes and sees high ceilings, elegant walls, and Manhattan rising beyond the window from a height that makes her dizzy. Her apartment was cold, cramped, and full of Ryan's voice. This room is silent, clean, safe. The contrast tightens her throat until she has to press a hand over her mouth to keep from crying. Memories return in fragments: the train, Alessandro's arms, the bruise on her wrist, his voice saying Ryan's name. Amanda sits up too fast and the room spins. Her wet jacket is gone. Her shoes sit neatly by the door. Panic sparks in her chest just as a soft knock comes. Alessandro enters, no longer in his formal coat, but in a black sweater that makes him look less untouchable and more human. He carries a tray with tea, toast, and a small bowl of soup. "You slept 12 hours, he says. Amanda looks toward the door. "I should leave." Alessandro does not move closer. "You can. But first, eat something and hear what the doctor said." He pours chamomile tea and sets it within reach. His voice stays calm as he explains: severe dehydration, malnutrition, bruises in different stages of healing, one cracked rib that had not healed properly. Amanda's cheeks burn. Hearing her injuries listed so plainly feels worse than seeing them in the mirror. She wraps both hands around the cup and stares into the steam. "You had no right." "Maybe not," Alessandro says, "but leaving you unconscious and untreated would have been worse." She tries to stand, but pain cuts across her ribs. He notices without making a scene. "Tell me the truth, Amanda. If I let you walk out of here right now, are you going somewhere safe?" Her silence answers before she does. She tells him her life is none of his concern. Alessandro's expression does not change. "It became my concern when you collapsed in my arms." He knows her name from her hospital ID, Amanda Turner, 27, nurse at Mount Sinai, and told them she had a medical emergency. That should make her angry. Instead, it makes her feel weak with relief. "Why are you doing this?" she asks. For the first time, his control falters. He looks away toward the window. "Because my mother had bruises like yours," he says. "And when I was 12, no one got her out in time." The room changes after that. Alessandro does not tell the story dramatically. He gives it to her in fragments, like something still sharp after all these years. His mother had hidden the truth. She had lied for the man who hurt her. She had told people she fell, bumped into doors, slipped on stairs. Then one night, there was no lie left to tell. Amanda lowers her eyes. She understands too much. Alessandro's voice hardens, not at her but at the memory. "I could not save her. That does not mean I have to look away from you." The words land quietly, but they reach past Amanda's shame. For the first time, his concern does not feel like pity. Amanda agrees to stay for the day, nothing more. After Alessandro leaves, she eats the toast slowly, as if her body no longer trusts food to stay. The soup warms her from the inside, and with every spoonful, she realizes how long she has been running on fear alone. A little later, Lucia enters with clean clothes folded over one arm. She is older, warm-eyed, with a soft Italian accent, and the confidence of someone who has managed this household for years. "You take a bath," Lucia says gently. "Then lunch. No arguments." Amanda almost smiles. There is no judgment in the woman's voice, only care. And after months of being watched by Ryan, being cared for feels almost unreal. The bathroom is larger than Amanda's bedroom in Queens. Marble floors, soft towels, a deep tub, bottles of soap that smell like lavender and citrus. Under the hot shower, she watches the rainwater, sweat, and hospital smell disappear down the drain. She does not cry until she sees the bruises clearly. Ryan's fingerprints blooming along her arms, a faded mark near her ribs, yellow shadows across her hip. She presses one hand against the wall and lets the tears come without swallowing them back. No one bangs on the door. No one mocks her weakness. No one tells her she made him angry. For the first time in months, Amanda is alone without being afraid. In the charcoal pants and soft cashmere sweater Lucia left for her, She almost looks like a different person, still too thin, still tired, but less like a ghost. Downstairs, she finds a penthouse filled with quiet light and a view of Central Park. Alessandro is on a phone call in Italian, his tone clipped and cold. The moment he says the name Dominic Varro, Lucia hand stills on a tray near the doorway. Then Alessandro sees Amanda and ends the call. That sharpness vanishes so quickly Amanda wonders which version of him is real. He leads her to the dining room, where Lucia has prepared soup and bread. They eat mostly in silence. Over lunch, Alessandro asks about nursing, and Amanda surprises herself by answering. She talks about night shifts, difficult patients, and the strange tenderness of holding someone's hand when there is nothing else to do. Her voice grows steadier as she speaks. Alessandro listens without interruption. "You love it," he says, "even when it breaks you." Amanda looks down at her soup. "It's the only thing I'm still good at." That's just not true. His answer is immediate, too certain. She almost argues, then stops. Ryan had spent years shrinking her, until she believed competence was arrogance and kindness was weakness. Alessandro's belief in her feels dangerous, because part of her wants to believe it too. The day unfolds slowly. Alessandro shows her the library, because she admits she used to love mystery novels before Ryan started mocking her for reading. Amanda runs her fingers over the spines, but does not choose anything. "He took that from you too?" Alessandro asks. She hears the anger under the question. "He took whatever made me quiet without him." The answer slips out before she can soften it. Alessandro's jaw tightens, then start taking things back. He places a worn detective novel in her hand, one page at a time. That evening, they watch a movie, because Amanda cannot face being alone yet. He chooses a violent thriller. She makes him change it to a gentle romantic comedy. He complains, but he stays. That night, the nightmare comes hard. Ryan's voice fills the dark, slurred and cruel. His fingers dig into her arm. His hand rises. Amanda wakes screaming before the blow lands. The room is dark except for city light spilling through the windows. The door opens, and Alessandro stands there in sleep pants, bare-chested, tattoos shadowing his arms and ribs. For a heartbeat, his size frightens her. He sees it and stops immediately, lifting both hands. "Amanda, it's me. You are safe." He keeps his voice low and stays near the door, giving her space to choose. The sob that breaks out of her is raw, humiliating, and impossible to stop. Alessandro approaches only when she nods. He sits at the edge of the bed, close enough to help, far enough not to trap her. Amanda says what she has never said out loud. "If I go back, he'll kill me eventually." The words hang between them. Once spoken, they cannot be hidden again. She covers her mouth, ashamed of the truth. Alessandro's voice is quiet, but something lethal moves under it. "Then you are not going back." Amanda shakes her head. "I have no money, no family. He knows where I work. He knows everyone I talk to." Alessandro looks at the bruises peeking from her sleeve. "We make sure he never gets close enough to use that." She tells him Ryan can charm the police, neighbors, strangers, anyone. He can cry on command. He can make her look unstable with one soft voice and one wounded expression. And later, Amanda whispers, "He punishes me for embarrassing him." Alessandro's hands curl into fists, but he keeps them resting on his knees. "Full name," he says. Amanda stares at him. "No, I don't want him hurt. I did not ask permission to hurt him." His eyes lock on hers. "I asked for the name of the man who believes he still owns you." The calm in his voice scares her, but it steadies her too. "Ryan Cole," she says at last. Alessandro nods once. "He will not touch you again." When Alessandro stands to leave, panic grabs Amanda by the throat. The thought of being alone with the nightmare still clinging to her skin is unbearable. "Can you stay?" she asks, hating how small she sounds. "Just until I fall asleep." He does not make her repeat it. He takes the chair near the window, not the bed, and settles there like a guard who intends to keep his promise. "Sleep," he says. "I am here." Amanda lies back, eyes fixed on him in the dim light. For the first time, protection does not feel like control. It feels like a door locked against the right person. Her breathing slows. Alessandro remains awake long after she sleeps. By morning, the decision has already been made, though Amanda pretends it has not. Alessandro does not push her. He only gives her options: a guest room at his country estate, a doctor, a phone, a way to contact the hospital, and a lawyer if she wants one. The choice is hers. That is what finally breaks her resistance. Ryan always called control love. Alessandro offers help and leaves the door open. Amanda chooses the country house, because she cannot survive another night listening for Ryan's key in the lock. 40 minutes north of Manhattan, surrounded by bare November trees, the estate looks less like luxury to her and more like distance. Distance is the first breath she has taken in years. The country house is guarded without feeling like a prison. Marco drives her there in silence, never asking questions, never looking at her bruises for too long. Lucia arrives the next day with groceries, clean sheets, and a firm plan to make Amanda gain weight. On the 5th day, Amanda calls Mount Sinai. Her supervisor hears something in her voice and does not demand details. "Come back part-time when you re-ready," the woman says. And Amanda, put yourself on the list of people worth saving. Amanda presses the phone to her chest after the call. She wants to return to work. She also wants to stop being afraid of every subway platform. When Alessandro offers Marco as her driver, she accepts before pride can ruin it. Tuesdays and Thursdays become her first pieces of normal life. Marco waits outside the hospital in the black SUV while Amanda moves through the pediatric ward with careful strength. Her co-workers notice the change. Maria pulls her aside one afternoon and says, "You look like you slept for the first time in a year." Amanda laughs softly because it is almost true. She still jumps at sudden voices. She still checks mirrors. But regular meals, real sleep, and the absence of Ryan's rage have begun to bring color back to her face. At night, Alessandro turns off his phones at 6 unless something is burning down. Something is always burning down, he admits. Then let it burn until after dinner, Amanda says. He does. Their dinners become a ritual neither of them names, insisting that patience matters more than skill. Amanda teaches him her grandmother's cornbread, laughing when he treats the recipe like a classified negotiation. For a man surrounded by bodyguards and whispered phone calls, he is unexpectedly clumsy with ordinary tenderness. He burns garlic. He oversalts sauce. He watches Amanda's face too closely whenever a pan clatters, ready to apologize if the sound startles her. She notices. One night, after a lid drops hard against the stove, he lowers the flame, steps back, and waits until her breathing steadies before asking if she wants to keep cooking. After dinner, they watch movies. Alessandro prefers old Italian films where everyone suffers beautifully, and no one says what they mean. Amanda prefers bright romantic comedies, where people misunderstand each other for 90 minutes and still find their way home. He calls them unrealistic. She tells him that is the point. Some of us need to see people choose joy without being punished for it. The words surprise them both. Alessandro looks at her for a long moment, then reaches for the remote and switches to the movie she picked. "No explosions," he asks. "No explosions." He sighs like a man accepting defeat, but when she laughs, his mouth curves before he can hide it. Their conversations grow braver after midnight. Alessandro tells her about Rome, about arriving in New York at 15, about building power because helplessness had once cost his mother her life. Amanda tells him about her father's illness, about leaving medical school, about the guilt of feeling relief when his suffering ended. They do not try to fix each other. That is what makes the honesty possible. Amanda asks if he believes things happen for a reason. Alessandro thinks for a while before answering. "No, I think people survive terrible things, then decide what to do with the pieces." Amanda carries that sentence with her for days. It sounds less like comfort than a task she might actually be able to begin. Silence becomes its own language between them. In the evenings, Alessandro reads reports in the study while Amanda sketches in a notebook Lucia found for her. Sometimes their hands brush when they reach for the same cup of tea, not with hunger, but with a restrained tenderness that makes her chest ache. She tells herself it is gratitude. He saved her. Of course she feels drawn to him, but gratitude does not explain the way she listens for his footsteps. It does not explain why the room feels warmer when he enters. What frightens Amanda most is not that Alessandro is dangerous. It is that with him, she is beginning to want something for herself again. Still, the shadows around Alessandro do not stay hidden. Men arrive at odd hours. Conversations stop when Amanda enters a room. Marco carries a gun under his jacket with the casualness of someone carrying keys. One evening, Amanda hears Vincent say Dominic Varro's name in a tone that makes the room go quiet. Alessandro cuts the conversation short the moment she appears. Later, he admits only that Dominic is an old ally who does not like the direction he is taking. "There are parts of my life I do not want near you," he says. Amanda answers before she thinks. That S not the same as them not existing. His expression tightens, and she knows she has touched a nerve. Amanda sees Alessandro by the window, one hand gripping the phone, the other pressed against the glass. He looks like a man holding back violence by force of will. She understands none of the Italian, but she hears Dominic's name again, followed by a silence colder than shouting. When the call ends, he sees her reflection. For a second, she expects him to shut her out. Instead, he opens the door wider. "You should not have to see this." Amanda steps inside anyway. "Maybe not, but you shouldn't have to stand in it alone every time." He laughs once without humor. "You do not know what it is." "No," she says, "but I know what lonely looks like." Alessandro sits beside her instead of behind his desk, and that tells Amanda more than an explanation would have. His shoulder nearly touches hers. The storm throws shadows across his face. "There are men who mistake mercy for weakness," he says. "In my world, that mistake gets people killed." Amanda does not ask who. She only places her hand over his. His fingers are rough, warm, tense beneath hers. "You handled me carefully when I arrived broken," she says. "That was not difficult. It was for someone like you." His eyes lift to hers. She sees the loneliness there, and the restraint, and something else neither of them has named. The distance between them grows thin enough not to break. When Amanda leans in, Alessandro does not take. He waits. That pause matters more than the kiss itself. She closes the space. His hand rises to her cheek, slow enough for her to refuse, gentle enough that she does not want to. Their kiss is careful at first, almost questioning, and the fear in her chest loosens into heat. When they part, Alessandro rests his forehead against hers. "You are still healing," he says, voice rough, "and I am not a simple man." Amanda knows both things are true. She also knows she has spent too long letting fear make every choice. "Then don't make this one for me," she whispers. "Let me choose." Every step is slow because Alessandro keeps stopping to ask if she is all right. The first time, Amanda nearly laughs. The second time, tears sting her eyes. Ryan had treated hesitation like an insult. Alessandro treats it like information. In his bedroom, with rain sliding down the windows, Amanda feels old fear rise inside her body even as she wants him. Alessandro sees the tension immediately and pulls back. "We stop, no," she says, catching his wrist. "We slow down." His expression softens in a way that makes him look almost young. Then we slow down. The intimacy that follows is not a conquest, not a cure, not an escape. It is trust built one careful breath at a time. Afterward, Amanda lies against his chest and listens to his heartbeat. It is faster than she expected. That comforts her for reasons she cannot explain. He is not untouched by this. He is not in control of everything. "I feel happy," she admits into the dark, and the words scare her. Alessandro's hand moves through her hair. "I have strict policies about your happiness." She huffs a laugh against his skin. That sounds very romantic and very illegal. Both can be true. Morning arrives pale and quiet, and Amanda wakes alone. Panic flickers, until she hears music downstairs and smells coffee. She finds him barefoot in the kitchen, making French toast as if men with enemies and armed guards do this every day. Amanda leans in the doorway wearing one of his shirts, and Alessandro looks at her, like the whole house has shifted around her. "You cook?" she asks. "I survive beautifully." That S not an answer. It is if breakfast tastes good. He plates French toast with berries, and for a while they are almost ordinary. Their knees touch under the table. Mother believed every should know how to feed themselves and someone they love. The word love hangs there, not spoken directly but close. Later on the couch, with coffee cooling between them, Alessandro grows serious. "I care for you more than I planned," he says. Amanda's fingers tighten around her mug. "Did you plan any of this?" "No, that is the problem." Alessandro does not offer a perfect confession. He offers a warning with it. He tells her he has been falling for her since the subway, since she looked terrified and still tried to argue with him. But loving him would mean standing near shadows he cannot completely remove. There are enemies, debts, old alliances, men like Dominic Varro, who still believe fear is the only language worth speaking. Amanda listens without flinching, though her heart is beating hard. She thinks of Ryan's darkness, wild and petty and cruel. Alessandro's darkness is different. It has rules, restraint, consequences. That does not make it safe, but it makes it honest. She takes his hand. "I am choosing you," she says, "don't to make me regret knowing the difference." For a little while, the choice feels strong enough to hold the world back. Alessandro kisses her over the taste of coffee, and Amanda lets herself believe peace can be built even near danger. Then his phone buzzes. He looks at the screen, and the warmth leaves his face. The man in the kitchen disappears. The man people fear returns. He answers in Italian by the window, voice low and sharp. Amanda understands only one word, Marco. When the call ends, he does not turn around right away. That frightens her more than the call itself. "Tell me," she says. Alessandra's shoulders rise and fall once. "Ryan has been looking for you." Amanda's stomach drops so fast she grips the table. Alessandro explains that Ryan has been showing up at the hospital, demanding to know where she is. He has told security she stole money from him. He has cried in the lobby. He has threatened to report her missing, then claimed she is mentally unstable. Worst of all, he has started waiting near shift changes, watching the doors. Amanda pushes her breakfast away. The peaceful kitchen suddenly feels too bright, too exposed. Ryan has always known how to turn concern into a weapon. "He won T-stop," she says. Alessandro's jaw tightens. "Then we stop him." "I mean you stop him." Amanda looks up, trembling but clear. "No, this time I have to be part of it." Alessandro studies her face, then nods. "There are legal options." Amanda almost laughs. "A piece of paper wanna stop him?" "No," he says, "but it creates a record. It gives the police a reason to act. It gives us ground to stand on." He tells her he has already researched attorneys who specialize in abuse cases, but he waited because the decision had to be hers. That matters. Amanda feels it. Ryan made choices for her until her own voice felt foreign. Alessandro has power enough to move mountains, yet he is asking. She takes a breath. Call them. The words shake, but they are hers. I'm tired of hiding from a man who should be the one afraid. By afternoon, Rebecca Hale and David Foster arrive at the estate. Rebecca is sharp-eyed, calm, and direct. David carries a stack of forms and a recorder. They do not soften the process, but they do not make Amanda feel weak either. At the dining table, Rebecca says, "Tell us what you can. We will not force what you cannot." Alessandro sits close, silent, one hand resting on the table where Amanda can reach it if she needs to. She begins with the first time Ryan hit her, because she forgot the dry cleaning. Then the apology flowers. Then the second time. In the nights he checked her phone, counted her money, stood between her and the door. Once Amanda starts, the memories come in a rush. The thrown glass that missed her face by inches. The cracked rib he called an accident. The time he locked her outside in January for embarrassing him at a party. The way he would whisper threats with his arm around her shoulders. So everyone else saw affection. Rebecca takes notes without flinching. David asks precise questions. Alessandro does not interrupt, but Amanda feels the anger in him like heat beside her. When she finishes, the room is quiet. Rebecca closes her tablet. We have hospital records, witnesses, photographs, and a pattern. This is strong. Amanda nods, exhausted. Strong does not make it painless, but it makes the truth harder to bury. 9 days before the hearing stretch like a wire pulled too tight. Ryan is served with court papers, and that makes him more dangerous, not less. He calls from blocked numbers until Alessandro has Amanda's phone replaced. He leaves flowers at the hospital with a note that says, "Come home before this gets worse." He tells Maria that Amanda is being manipulated by a criminal. For the first time, Amanda does not hide. She gives the note to Rebecca. She lets hospital security file the report. Each act feels small, but together they become a wall. Morning of court, Amanda dresses in a gray suit, pins her hair back, and looks at herself in the mirror. She is afraid. She goes anyway. The Manhattan courthouse feels cold and too bright. In the elevator, Amanda's hands shake so badly that Alessandro quietly offers his arm. She takes it. In the courtroom, Ryan is already there, sitting beside his lawyer in a navy suit that almost makes him look respectable. That is the worst part. He looks ordinary, a man anyone might trust. When he sees Amanda, his face shifts through shock, anger, then wounded concern so quickly she almost admires the performance. Then his eyes land on Alessandro behind her and the mask slips. Just for a second, Amanda sees the rage underneath. It no longer freezes her in place. It reminds her why she came. Rebecca presents the evidence cleanly. Photos, medical records, security logs from the hospital, Maria's statement. Ryan's lawyer tries to turn Amanda into a fragile woman under the influence of a dangerous man. Ryan lowers his head at the right moments and calls their relationship complicated. When the judge asks about the cracked rib, he says Amanda fell during an argument and he panicked. Amanda's nails dig into her palm. Alessandro leans forward slightly behind her, but he says nothing. Rebecca asks why Ryan never called an ambulance. Then she asks why Amanda's injury matched the shape of a boot. The courtroom goes very still. Ryan's face reddens. His story begins to collapse under the weight of details he forgot to control. The judge grants the order. Ryan must stay 500 feet away from Amanda, her workplace, and Alessandro's properties. Any violation can lead to arrest. Amanda feels relief, but it is not clean. It comes with shaking knees and a bitter knowledge that paper only matters if people enforce it. In the corridor, Ryan proves her right. He steps into her path before Rebecca can move. "You think this is over," he whispers. "You made a mistake." Marco is there instantly, a wall in a dark suit. Rebecca raises her phone. "One more word and I call the officer back." For the first time, Ryan looks around and realizes Amanda is no longer alone. Ryan tries one final time to reach the old Amanda. "You belong with me," he says, voice low, almost tender. "He doesn't know you like I do." Amanda's stomach twists, but she does not step back. Alessandro moves beside her, calm and terrifying in his stillness. "She belongs to herself," he says. His voice never rises, yet the corridor seems to quiet around it. Ryan sneers, but his eyes flick toward Marco, then Rebecca's phone. Then the courthouse doors. He understands consequences now. Not morality, not remorse. Consequences. Amanda looks him in the face and says, "I'm done being scared of what you'll do next." Her voice trembles, but it does not break. Ryan is the one who looks away. After court, Amanda's body collapses into delayed fear. In the car, she cannot stop shaking. Alessandro does not tell her it is over. He knows better. He wraps his coat round her and lets the silence hold. At the estate, she walks into the garden and stands among bare branches until her breathing slows. Alessandro finds her there. "You were brave," he says. Amanda laughs, once thin and tired. "I was terrified." "Yes," he says. "That is usually what bravery costs." She looks at him then, really looks. "I don't want you to fight all my battles." Alessandro nods. Then I stand beside you while you fight them. That answer does more for her than any promise of revenge. That evening, they cook, because neither of them knows what else to do with the adrenaline. Pasta, vegetables, too much garlic because Alessandro is distracted and Amanda forgets to stop him. They talk about practical things, the order, hospital security, a new apartment eventually, therapy. Then Amanda says something that makes the knife pause in Alessandro's hand. I want to testify if he violates it. He turns. Amanda, no. I need you to hear me. I'm grateful you can protect me. But if I keep letting men decide what happens next, I'm still living in Ryan's world. Alessandro sets the knife down. The struggle on his face is obvious. Then he nods. All right, we do it your way. Over the next 3 weeks, Country's house becomes both sanctuary and training ground. Amanda returns to Mount Sinai 3 days a week with Marco nearby but not hovering. She meets with a therapist Rebecca recommends. She writes down what happened when memories hit instead of swallowing them. At the hospital, Mrs. Kowalski in room 412 notices Amanda's steadier smile. 7-year-old Jamie draws her a crooked superhero with brown hair and a stethoscope. Maria keeps watch without making Amanda feel watched. "You coming back to yourself," Maria says one afternoon. Amanda thinks about that on the ride home. Coming back is not the right phrase. The old self is gone. She is building someone new from the pieces Ryan failed to destroy. Life with Alessandro grows warmer but not simpler. Some nights he comes home with blood on his cuff that is not his. Some calls make him leave the dinner table and return with eyes like closed doors. Amanda does not pretend not to see it. One night after Dominic Varro sends a message that leaves Vincent pale and silent, Amanda asks plainly, "How much of your world will follow us if we build a future?" Alessandro does not insult her with a pretty answer. Some of it. "And if we have children?" The question surprises them both. He looks down at his hands. "Then I change what I can before they ever have to understand it." Amanda hears the fear in his voice. Their debates become part of their love. Amanda challenges him when his protection turns too sharp. Alessandro challenges her when independence becomes another word for refusing help. They argue one evening after he adds extra guards to the hospital without telling her. Amanda is furious. "You don't get to make my life a security operation without asking." Alessandro's face hardens. Ryan is still out there, and I am still a person. That stops him. The apology comes later, quiet and difficult. He removes the extra men and keeps only Marco, because that is what she agrees to. Amanda learns to trust the apology more than the mistake, because this time, something actually changes afterward. Then Ryan violates the order. He appears in the Mount Sinai lobby on a Thursday afternoon carrying flowers and a face full of fake remorse. Maria spots him first and hits the security button. Ryan raises his voice, telling anyone who will listen that Amanda has been taken by criminals, that she is confused, that he only wants to bring her home. Amanda hears the commotion from the pediatric corridor. For 1 second her body wants to run. Then she looks at the children watching from the playroom door, and something steadier rises. She tells a colleague to take them inside. She calls Rebecca. Then she calls Marco. Her hands shake but her voice is clear. "Yes, here. I am not hiding." Marco arrives with hospital security before Ryan can reach the elevators. Amanda stays back as instructed, but she does not disappear. She stands where he can see her, surrounded by staff, cameras, and witnesses. Ryan spots her and switches tactics instantly. "Mandy, please," he calls, voice breaking. "Tell them you okay. Tell them this is all a mistake." The old nickname makes her skin crawl. Amanda lifts her phone and records him. "You are violating a court order," she says. "Leave." His face changes. The softness burns away. "You'll regret this." The words are clear on video. Marco steps closer. Security takes Ryan by the arms. This time Amanda has proof before fear can rewrite the moment. Alessandro reaches the hospital 20 minutes later, moving through the hallway like a storm in a tailored suit. Amanda expects him to take over. Instead, he stops in front of her and asks, "What do you want to do?" The question steadies her more than his anger could have. "File the violation," she says. "Press charges if we can." Pride flashes across his face, quickly hidden. "Then we file." In the car back to the estate, Amanda replays the video twice before she can stop herself. Ryan's mask slipping in public has changed something. He is still dangerous, but he is no longer invisible. His charm has a crack in it now, and Amanda is the one who made it show. At the estate, Alessandro explains the problem without dressing it up. The restraining order violation may only bring a minor charge. Ryan could be released quickly. Amanda feels the familiar dread return, but this time it does not swallow her whole. Alessandro hesitates before continuing. Embezzlement, tax fraud, and a trail of stolen money from Ryan's employer. It is enough for federal authorities if Amanda chooses to hand it over. "This is not revenge," Alessandro says. "It is evidence." Amanda studies him carefully. "And if I say no, then it stays in the file." For a long moment, Amanda thinks of every bruise, every lie, every locked door. Then she says, "Give it to them." The next 6 weeks unfold like a silent chess game. Ryan posts bail on the violation and thinks he has survived the worst of it. He sends messages through mutual acquaintances, each one carefully worded enough to sound harmless, each one meant to remind Amanda he is still near. She saves everything. Rebecca forwards everything. Meanwhile, Alessandro's people deliver documents to the right federal office, through the right legal channels. Amanda insists on seeing what is submitted. She will not be a passenger in her own rescue. Bank transfers, false invoices, tax records. Ryan's arrogance is everywhere on paper. The man who monitored every dollar Amanda spent has been stealing far more than she ever imagined. When federal agents arrest Ryan outside his apartment, Amanda hears about it from Rebecca, not Alessandro. That matters too. This is not a mafia punishment hidden in the dark. It is the law catching up in daylight. Ryan is charged with embezzlement, tax evasion, and obstruction, after trying to destroy records once he realizes what is happening. Amanda thinks she will feel joy. Instead, she feels exhausted. Alessandro finds her sitting on the kitchen floor with Lucy St. cooling beside her. He's in custody, she says. And I still feel like I'm waiting for the door to open. Alessandro sits beside her on the floor in his expensive suit. He does not offer a speech. He just stays until the tea goes cold. The trial 3 months later is not about Amanda. And that is a strange relief. She testifies only briefly about Ryan's threats and the restraining order violation. The rest is numbers, bank records, emails, forensic accountants. Ryan looks smaller in federal court than he ever did in her apartment. His cheap suit hangs badly. His confidence flickers every time the prosecutor produces another document. When he looks back and sees Alessandro sitting behind Amanda, he finally understands that intimidation will not save him. But Amanda does not look to Alessandro for strength this time. She looks at Rebecca. She looks at the judge. She looks at the evidence. And she looks straight at Ryan and does not lower her eyes. The guilty verdict lands quietly, almost too quietly for how much it changes. 5 years. Ryan's face goes white. Amanda feels Alessandro's hand near hers, not touching until she reaches first. She expects triumph. What comes instead is a deep, shaking release, as if her body has been holding one breath for years, and is finally allowed to let it go. That night, Alessandro takes her to dinner, but the candlelight feels too soft for what she is carrying. "You can leave now," he says halfway through the meal. Amanda looks up, startled. His face is serious. "If safety was the reason you stayed, then you should know the door is open." The offer hurts because it is real. It also proves he means it. Amanda sets down her fork. "You think I stayed because I had nowhere else? I think trauma can disguise itself as love," Alessandro says. The honesty is painful, but she respects him for it. He tells her he will help her find an apartment, pay for security, support her studies, whatever she wants. No debt, no pressure. Amanda studies the man across from her. Dangerous, flawed, trying harder than anyone has ever tried for her. "I'm not staying because I'm trapped," she says. "I am staying because when you give me a choice, I still choose this table, this life, you." His breath catches. For a man who commands rooms full of powerful men, he looks undone by being chosen freely. Their future begins with careful boundaries. Alessandro offers to pay for Amanda's pediatric nursing coursework, and she refuses before he finishes the sentence. Money had been one of Ryan's favorite weapons. She will not trade one form of dependence for another. Alessandro listens instead of arguing. They compromise. He helps with logistics, transportation, and safety. Amanda pays her own tuition through work, scholarships, and a payment plan that makes her wince but stand taller. "You make everything harder," Alessandro says one night, watching her fill out forms. "No," she replies. "I make some things mine." He kisses her hand. "Then I will stand beside what is yours." That becomes the shape of their love. Support without ownership. When Amanda asks what he wants beyond power, Alessandro takes longer to answer. "Peace," he says at last, as if the word is unfamiliar in his mouth. He admits the empire he built has started to feel like a room with no windows. Men fear him. They obey him. They do not know him. Amanda has brought warmth into places he had kept deliberately cold. He does not promise to become harmless. She would not believe him if he did. But he begins shifting money into legitimate businesses, cutting ties that no longer serve anything but old pride. Dominic Varro is the name that keeps returning in tense calls and unfinished conversations. Each time Amanda hears it, Alessandro says less, and that tells her more. 8 months after the subway, Amanda's life looks impossible compared to the night she fainted. Ryan is behind bars. She is back at Mount Sinai part-time and enrolled in pediatric certification courses. She has her own bank account, her own therapist, her own key to Alessandro's house, and the right to use it or not use it. Lucia feeds her as if weight gain is a personal mission. Now allows her to choose the music. The country house no longer feels like a hiding place. It feels like a place where she learned to breathe. Some mornings she wakes expecting fear and finds only birds, coffee, and Alessandro asleep beside her. The Park Avenue penthouse remains part of their life, but it no longer dazzles Amanda the way it once did. It is beautiful, yes, suspended above New York like a glass sanctuary, but she has learned that marble cannot create safety. People do. Choices do. Tonight, she is nervous for a different reason. Alessandro is taking her to meet the people he calls family. Not relatives by blood, but the inner circle bound to him by loyalty, history, and secrets. As he adjusts his pinstripe suit, Amanda smooths her emerald dress and studies her reflection. What if they think I don't belong? She asks. Alessandro comes up behind her. Then they will have to adjust their definition of belonging. Unmarked restaurant in Tribeca. The kind of place that does not need a sign, because the right people already know where the door is. Inside, conversation quiets when Alessandro enters. Vincent, his second-in-command, rises first. Sophia, bright-eyed and diamond-sharp, studies Amanda with open curiosity. Michael and Adriana, who handle law and public reputation, exchange a glance Amanda cannot read. Alessandro's hand rests warm at the small of her back. Amanda Turner, he says. Not possession. Introduction. Recognition. The room receives the message. Amanda lifts her chin and greets them, without pretending to be more polished than she is. If she is going to stand in this world, she will stand as herself. Dinner begins stiffly, with too many eyes measuring her, and too many polite questions circling the truth. And Amanda starts talking about children, fever charts, stubborn toddlers, and the strange courage of sick little patients. The room softens. Vincent laughs when she tells a story about a 5-year-old who tried to bribe her with gummy bears to avoid a shot. Even Alessandro looks lighter across the table, his guarded face warmed by pride. Sophia leans close later and says, "You make him look human." Amanda almost denies it. Then she sees Alessandro arguing with Vincent over dessert like a brother, instead of a king, and the denial never leaves her mouth. Adriana is the one who finally names what Amanda fears. "This world will test you," she says quietly while the others talk. "Not because Alessandro cares for you. Because he does." Amanda appreciates the honesty. "I know, Dominic already thinks the clinic makes him soft," Adriana adds. "Men like that do not forgive softness." Amanda looks across the room at Alessandro. "I know enough to be afraid. I also know enough not to confuse fear with a warning to run." Adriana studies her, then nods once. It feels like acceptance. Under the table, Alessandro finds Amanda's hand. She squeezes back. She does not feel fearless. She feels informed, and that is enough for tonight. When they leave, Lucia presses leftovers into Amanda's hands, even though they have eaten for hours. Vincent clasps Alessandro's shoulder. Sophia kisses Amanda's cheek and tells her to come back when she wants the real stories. The drive to the country house is quiet. Amanda rests her head against Alessandro's shoulder. "I thought they would see me as a weakness." "They saw what I see," he says. "And what is that?" "Someone who survived without becoming cruel." The answer settles deep. For 3 days, they retreat from the city. They cook too much, walk through the little town, argue over movies, and sleep late. The ordinary hours feel stolen, which makes Amanda hold on to them harder. On Sunday morning, Amanda wakes to an empty bed and finds Alessandro in the garden, standing in pale sunlight with his hands in his pockets. He looks nervous, which is so rare that she stops several feet away. "Did someone die?" she asks. He turns startled, then laughs under his breath. "No." "Then why do you look like you renegotiating with God?" He reaches for her hand. "Because I am about to ask for something I want too much." Her chest tightens. Alessandro takes out a small velvet box. Inside rests an emerald ring, delicate and deep green. He does not drop to one knee. He does not trap the moment with spectacle. He simply holds the box between them. "Not a demand," he says, "a promise." Amanda stares at the ring as the garden blurs with tears. Alessandro's voice stays gentle. He tells her he wants a future with her. Mornings, arguments, dreams, children someday if she wants them. A home that belongs to both of them. But he also knows healing has its own pace. The ring is not meant to rush her into a wedding or bind her before she is ready. It is his promise that he is not passing through her life. Amanda looks at him. This dangerous man, trying so carefully not to become another cage. "Are you sure?" she asks. His answer is immediate. "More sure of anything I was more afraid to lose." She holds out her hand. The ring slides onto her finger, cool at first, then warm against her skin. Amanda laughs through tears when Alessandro admits Lucia secretly measured one of her rings. So this was a conspiracy. A family operation, he corrects. They spend the afternoon on the porch, talking about the future in cautious, hopeful pieces. Maybe a small wedding in a year or two. Maybe children when Amanda finishes school. Maybe a clinic expansion. Maybe a life where Alessandro's name means more than old fear. Amanda rests her head against his shoulder and thinks of the subway, of hunger and rain, and his voice saying, "I've got you." She believes him differently now. Not because he caught her once, but because he keeps letting her stand. Amanda tells him that he did not save her the way stories usually claim men save women. He opened a door. She had to walk through it, testify, heal, work, choose, argue, and choose again. Alessandro listens, then says she saved him too. Not with innocence or softness alone, but by refusing to let his darkness be the only truth about him. She made him want a life that did not end with fear as his only legacy. They sit beneath the deepening sky. Two people still scarred, still imperfect, but no longer alone in the work of becoming better. Promise ring catches the first starlight. Amanda does not think of it as an ending. It feels like a beginning they are both finally brave enough to claim. Time moves forward to November 23rd. Exactly 1 year after Amanda fainted on the subway. She stands in front of the bathroom mirror at the country house, staring at a plastic test with 2 clear pink lines. For several seconds, she cannot move. She is 2 months pregnant, the child likely conceived during their quiet September retreat after their small wedding. They had talked about children. They had stopped being careful months ago, agreeing to let life arrive if it wanted to. Still, seeing proof makes motherhood feel sudden and enormous. Downstairs, Alessandro is making breakfast, humming badly with the confidence of a man who has no idea his entire world is about to change again. Their wedding had been simple, held at the country house with Lucia crying openly, Marco pretending not to, and Alessandro's inner circle standing close enough to feel like a wall and a blessing at once. Afterward, they spent 2 quiet weeks in Italy, walking through Rome, visiting the neighborhood where Alessandro once lived, and placing flowers at his mother's grave. Amanda had brought no grand speech there. She only held his hand. Coming home had not felt like leaving paradise. It felt like returning to a life they had built with care. Now, she slips the pregnancy test into her pocket and goes downstairs, one hand resting briefly over her stomach. She is terrified. She is happy. Both truths fit inside her at once. The breakfast table is set near windows, overlooking a golden autumn garden. Strawberries, coffee, French toast. Too much powdered sugar, because Alessandro still believes excess is a valid cooking style. He looks up when she enters and immediately notices her face. "What happened?" he asks. "Nothing bad." That is not an answer. Amanda sits across from him, suddenly shy in a way she has not felt since the beginning. On the wall behind him hangs her framed pediatric nursing certificate. At the clinic Alessandro helped fund, she now works with children who run toward her when she enters a room. She touches the test in her pocket. Before she can speak, Alessandro's phone rings. His smile disappears. The call is short, but it changes the room. Alessandro answers with one word, then listens. Amanda watches his hand tighten around the edge of the counter until his knuckles pale. When he hangs up, he does not reach for her. That is how she knows it is bad. "Tell me," she says. Alessandro's eyes lift to hers. "Dominic Varro is moving against me." Name is no longer new, and that makes it worse. Amanda thinks of Lucia's still hand, Vincent's pale face, Adriana's warning. Dominic is the old ally who refuses to accept Alessandro's shift toward legal business. He has found out about the clinic. Worse, he has found out about Amanda. "He thinks you make me vulnerable," Alessandro says. Alessandro wants to send Amanda to the penthouse with extra guards, but this time she does not let fear decide first. "No," she says, "not until you tell me what he wants." Alessandro hesitates. That hesitation hurts more than the danger. He wants the clinic used as cover for money movement, he admits. "If I refuse, he threatens to leak a story tying the clinic to my past. He thinks public shame will make you run." Amanda sits down slowly. For a moment, Ryan's old voice whispers in her head. "Everything you love can be used against you." Then she looks at Alessandro. "Did you ever use my clinic that way?" His face hardens, not at her, but at the fact that she has to ask. "No." "Then we prove it." Amanda does not go to the subway platform that night. Instead, she goes to the clinic office with Rebecca, Adriana, and a forensic accountant Alessandro trusts but does not command. She insists on outside eyes, clean records, and written proof. Alessandro watches her take control of the room and understands the cost of her trust. If the clinic is clean, she will protect it. If it is not, she will walk away no matter how much she loves him. For 6 hours, they review donations, contracts, vendor invoices, and transfer histories. Amanda's pregnancy test remains in her coat pocket like a secret heartbeat. Near midnight, the accountant looks up. "The clinic is clean," he says. Amanda exhales for the first time all evening. Then Adriana finds the trap. Dominic's people have created false invoices in the clinic's name, staged to look like Alessandro's charity is already dirty. If released, the documents would not hold up in court forever, but they could destroy public trust long enough to close the clinic and smear Amanda's name. Alessandro's face turns frighteningly calm. "I will handle him." Amanda steps between him and the door. "No, if you handle this in the shadows, he wins. He gets to make me look like Ryan tried to make me look unstable, protected by a criminal, too weak to stand in daylight." Alessandro stares at her, the old instincts fighting in his eyes. Amanda reaches into her pocket, closes her hand around the test, and says, "If we are building a different life, prove it now." For a long moment, nobody moves. Then Alessandro takes out his phone and calls Michael, his attorney, not Marco. That choice lands in the room, like a door opening. By morning, they have a plan: file a preemptive legal complaint, publish the clinic's audited records, and send Dominic's forged invoices to federal investigators. Alessandro will also cut off the remaining old channels Dominic controls, even though doing so will cost him money, influence, and possibly loyalty from men who have known him for decades. Amanda watches him sign the documents just after sunrise. His hand does not shake, but his face is pale. "This could weaken you," she says. Alessandro looks at the clinic logo on the paperwork. "Then I was standing on the wrong kind of strength." Dominic strikes before noon. Anonymous posts appear online, accusing the clinic of laundering money. A local reporter calls. 2 donors panic. For a few brutal hours, Amanda feels the life she built begin to tilt. And Rebecca releases the audited records. Michael files the complaint. Adriana sends proof of the forged invoices to every reporter who received the smear. By late afternoon, the story reverses. The headline changes from suspicion to attempted sabotage. Dominic S. name appears where Amanda S. had been. At the clinic, Maria calls Amanda in tears because parents are showing up with flowers instead of anger. Alessandro stands beside Amanda in the office, silent as the news updates. She finally tells him the truth she has carried all day. "I am pregnant." The war room goes quiet. Alessandro turns as if the rest of the world has fallen away. "What?" Amanda takes out the test still wrapped in tissue and places it in his hand. His face changes completely. The man who had just cut ties, exposed an enemy, and risked his empire for a cleaner future suddenly looks defenseless. "Months," she says. His eyes fill before he can stop them. He does not grab her. He doesn't speak over the moment. He asks in a broken whisper, "May I hold you?" Amanda nods. When his arms close around her, she feels him trembling. "I wanted to tell you at the subway," she says against his chest. He laughs once, half sob, half breath. "This is better. Our child's first victory was paperwork." That night, they return to the subway platform anyway. Marco drives them into the city, and Alessandro keeps one hand wrapped around Amanda S. the entire way. The station is crowded, loud, and ordinary. To everyone else, it is just another place to catch a train. To them, it is the spot where a broken night became a turning point. Amanda stands where she once collapsed, and the wind pushes her hair back from her face. This time, her knees do not weaken. Alessandro watches her, eyes still red from the news. "I thought I caught you," he says. Amanda smiles. "You did." Then she places his hand gently over her stomach. "Now we both have someone else to catch." They leave the platform and walk to a small park nearby, nearly empty beneath the city lights. On a bench facing the playground, Alessandro finally lets the tears come again. Not loudly, not dramatically, just enough for Amanda to see the man beneath every title people have given him. He asks if she is afraid. She answers honestly, "Yes, of me." Amanda looks toward the quiet swings moving in the wind, of the world around you, of losing myself, of loving this baby so much that fear becomes my first language again. Alessandro takes her hand. "Then we keep correcting each other, every day." She nods. It is not a perfect answer. That is why she believes it. They return to the country house close to midnight. Alessandro wants to wake Lucia, call Vincent, inform the entire world, and possibly buy every pregnancy book in Manhattan before sunrise. Amanda wants quiet. They compromise: doctor first, Lucia in the morning, everyone else after they hear a heartbeat. In their bedroom, he touches her with careful wonder, not because she is fragile, but because he understands what her body has survived and what it now carries. Amanda sees fear in him too, the fear of finally having so much to lose. She places his hand over her stomach, though there is nothing to feel yet. "We cannot protect this child from everything," she says. Alessandro's eyes stay fixed on their joined hands. "No, but love will never be the thing they need protection from." Near dawn, Lucia finds out and cries so loudly that Marco appears with one hand near his jacket, before realizing no one is under attack. When he hears the news, he looks at Alessandro, then at Amanda, and gives the smallest smile either of them has ever seen. "Congratulations," he says, as if the word is too big for his mouth. The house fills with breakfast, laughter, and cautious plans. Amanda schedules a Dr. S appointment. Alessandro tries to reorganize the entire household around her comfort, until she threatens to ban him from all pregnancy books. He agrees to one book at a time. She agrees to tell him when she is tired. It is messy, tender, and already more real than either of them expected. In the weeks that follow, Amanda continues working at the clinic, though Lucia packs snacks as if she is feeding 3 people instead of 2. Alessandro becomes quieter, more focused, cutting another dangerous tie from his old network, and investing more deeply in the clinic and legal businesses. Not because fatherhood has magically purified him, but because legacy now has a face he has not met yet. Amanda watches him change without pretending change is the same as perfection. She has learned to look directly at the flaws and still ask for better. At night, when fear rises in either of them, They talk instead of retreating. The child growing between them does not erase old wounds. It gives them another reason not to pass those wounds on. On quiet mornings, Amanda still thinks of the woman she was in the hospital locker room, starving, ashamed, counting dollars and bruises, trying to survive until the next shift. She wishes she could go back and tell that woman that help would come. But not in the simple way stories promise. Help would come as a hand extended, a door opened, a lawyer asked question, a friend's witness statement, a therapist's patience, and a difficult choice made while shaking. Alessandro did not erase her past. Ryan's prison sentence did not erase it either. Amanda rebuilt herself through every act of choosing life after fear. Now under the pink gold morning sky, with Alessandro beside her and their child quietly growing, she no longer asks whether safety was meant for people like her. She is living inside the answer. Every Mafia boss story is not only about power, money, revenge, or fear. Beneath the violence and darkness, there is often a painful human lesson about choices, consequences, loyalty, family, and the price of ambition. This story reminds us that no matter how powerful a person becomes, no one can escape the truth forever. Hundreds of people, and make others tremble at the sound of his name. But if his heart is empty, his victory is never complete. The Mafia boss in this story represents a man who built his life on control. He believed that fear was stronger than love, that silence was safer than honesty, and that power could protect him from pain. For years, he may have won every battle in the streets, in business, and among his enemies. But the most important battle was never outside him. It was inside his own heart. That is where he truly lost himself. One of the most meaningful lessons from this story is that power without morality becomes a prison. Many people dream of becoming rich, respected, or feared. They think success means having control over others. But real success is not measured by how many people obey you. It is measured by how many lives you protect, how much peace you create, and how much good remains after you are gone. The Mafia boss had money, influence, and protection, but he did not have peace. His life shows us that a person can be surrounded by luxury and still feel completely alone. Another important lesson is that loyalty is valuable, but blind loyalty can destroy lives. In the world of crime, loyalty is often treated like the highest law. People are expected to follow orders without question. Never mean giving up your conscience. A loyal person does not simply protect someone's secrets. A loyal person also has the courage to stop someone from destroying themselves. This story teaches us that loyalty without honesty is dangerous. Real loyalty should be connected to truth, respect, and moral responsibility. The story also shows the heavy cost of revenge. Revenge often feels powerful in the beginning. It gives a person the illusion that pain can be answered with pain, but revenge rarely heals anything. Instead, it creates a chain of suffering that keeps growing. One act of revenge leads to another. One betrayal leads to another. In the end, everyone loses something. The Mafia boss may have believed that revenge would restore his honor, but what it truly did was steal his humanity piece by piece. This is a powerful reminder that forgiveness is not weakness. Sometimes, forgiveness is the strongest decision a person can make because it breaks the cycle of hatred. Family is another central lesson in this kind of story. Many Mafia bosses claim they do everything for family. They say they commit crimes to protect the people they love. But protection without honesty can become another form of harm. A family does not only need money or security. A family needs trust, emotional safety, and love that is not poisoned by fear. If a father, husband, brother, or son becomes powerful but loses the ability to show tenderness, then his family may live in a beautiful house, but still feel trapped inside it. This story reminds us that children and loved ones often pay the price for the choices of powerful men. The Mafia boss may think his decisions only affect his enemies, but every secret, every violent act, and every betrayal leaves a shadow over the innocent people around him. That is why one of the strongest educational messages is this: before making a decision, we must ask ourselves who will suffer because of it. A selfish choice may bring temporary success, but it can create long-term pain for the people we love most. Another meaningful point is the danger of pride. Pride can make a person refuse to apologize, refuse to change, and refuse to admit they are wrong. The Mafia boss may have spent years believing that saying sorry would make him look weak, but in reality, the ability to apologize is a sign of strength. It takes courage to face the damage we have caused. It takes maturity to admit that we hurt someone, and it takes true character to change before it is too late. The story also teaches that redemption is possible, but it always requires sacrifice. A person cannot simply say they have changed. They must prove it through action. Redemption means accepting responsibility, protecting the innocent, telling the truth, and sometimes losing everything that was built on lies. For a Mafia boss, redemption may mean walking away from power, exposing corruption, saving someone he once endangered, or choosing love over control. The path to redemption is painful because it forces a person to confront the worst parts of themselves, but it is also the only path that can lead to peace. From a human perspective, This story is powerful because it shows that even the hardest heart can still feel pain. Behind the cold eyes of a mafia boss, there may be regret, loneliness, childhood wounds, or a deep fear of being betrayed. This does not excuse his actions, but it helps us understand that broken people often break others when they never learn how to heal. The educational value here is important. Pain should not become an excuse to hurt people. Instead, pain should become a reason to grow, to seek wisdom, and to choose a better path. For viewers, the lesson is not to admire the criminal lifestyle, but to understand its emptiness. The suits, cars, mansions, and power may look attractive from the outside, but behind them there is often fear, guilt, and loss. A life built on violence can never bring true happiness. A life built on lies can never bring true freedom. And a life built on fear can never create real love. In the end, the story of a mafia boss is really a warning. It warns us that every choice has a consequence. It warns us that money cannot buy peace. It warns us that fear cannot replace respect. It warns us that revenge cannot heal a wounded heart. Most importantly, it reminds us that the greatest power a person can have is not the power to control others, but the power to control themselves. The deepest lesson is simple but meaningful. Choose character over pride, love over control, truth over silence, and forgiveness over revenge. No matter how dark a person's past may be, change is possible when they are willing to face the truth. But the longer someone waits, the higher the price becomes. A mafia boss may win the streets, defeat his enemies, and build an empire, but if he loses his soul, he has lost everything. True strength is not found in violence. True strength is found in responsibility, compassion, humility, and the courage to become better before it is too late.